I don't think you guys understand how long I have waited to say these words on this channel. The NASCAR World tonight was defeated by Prosper, Texas's own Chris Buescher. That is right. For the first time in NASCAR playoff history since the elimination format, the first round, or any round, has been swept by non-playoff drivers. We got really close in 2014, 2015, when, I think it was Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson won non-playoff races in both those years, and a playoff guy won the other one. Well, this year, we had Eric Jones win the playoff opener at Darlington, Bubba Wallace win at Kansas, and today, Chris Buescher won the Bristol Night Race. What a wacky night. And it's not like Buescher, in Kyle Busch's words, backed into this win. He was fast all night. Brad Keselowski, his teammate owner, was also fast all night. They both led over 80 laps. Buescher led over 150 laps. They were insanely fast tonight. Buescher was well deserving of this win. But the thing that is crazy about tonight is everything else. The right front tire problems, the engine problems for Toyota, and the big crash that took out RCR. There were so many things that happened tonight, so many playoff chaos that happened tonight, and it resulted in two former Cup champions getting eliminated, and one of them being, of course, Kyle Busch. We knew coming into this race, Kevin Harvick, it was win or bust. If he didn't win the race, he was done for. Whereas Kyle Busch was in a tight point situation. He was only 2-3 points out coming into this race, and you can make that up in one stage. Well, Kyle Busch, while he was looking pretty good throughout the race, had an engine explode for the second time in the first 3 races of the playoffs. I'm not one to push conspiracy theories, but okay. Kyle Busch announces this week that he is leaving RCR, or announcing that he is leaving JGR for RCR. Officially, RCR is a Chevy team. Okay? Kyle Busch is with a Toyota team. And, it was not just put together this week, I think. I think it's been a deal in the making, and I think Joe Gibbs Racing knew he was leaving. I'm not saying that they intentionally blew up the engine. I'm not. But the thing that makes me think of this conspiracy is Kyle Busch was 90 laps behind, whatever it was, and Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace both had issues with their cars late or early in the race, and later in the race came back into the race 150, 160 laps down. Well, the thing is that when they came back on track, Kyle Busch was out of the race and 2 points above the cutoff line, 3 points, 4 points, whatever it was. So basically, he could not afford anyone coming back into the race that was already out of the race. Well, you'd think that given that he's driving a Toyota currently and that there's 3 Toyotas in the garages based off mechanical failures, surely Toyota wouldn't send them back out there. Toyota did send them back out there. First, they sent Bubba Wallace back, and Bubba Wallace ended up finishing the race 100 and something laps down, and he passed Kyle Busch. That's a point right there. And then they sent Ty Gibbs back out there. And everyone's like, Toyota, we get you're not happy that he's leaving and, that you don't want him to succeed next year, but he's still your driver right now. He's still fighting for a championship for you, Toyota, right now. And everyone's like, what are they doing? And then literally 4 or 5 laps before Kyle Busch is about to get passed by Ty Gibbs in terms of how many laps they've run, Ty Gibbs' motor explodes again, so, he didn't pass him. But the point being, I don't understand that call from Toyota, and it's a bit odd considering he's currently a Toyota driver. If he was at RCR, then obviously, screw him. He's not driving Toyota anymore. That's what they're thinking, but he's still in a Toyota, guys. Anyways, what a bizarre race. Playoff problems all night. It started early. Ryan Blaney finished, I think he ended up finishing 33rd or something, but Ryan Blaney was the first one to have problems. Well, second, because Cindric blew a tire, went a couple laps down. Then Blaney had problems. Then more Fords had problems. Kyle Busch had his problems. Suarez, Dillon, Reddick were all involved in a wreck. Technically Bowman, but he was already advanced at that point. He could have wrecked the lap. He got advanced. He wouldn't have mattered. We saw Hamlin have problems. He advanced. Logano had problems. He advanced. I'm trying to think of guys who had problems that didn't advance. Harvick. Oh, this is a little bit heartbreaking. Harvick had a top 10 car all night long, and he was running up front. He was one of the first ones to come down on that last caution when Christopher Bell blew a tire there late, and, he was leading when it happened, and Harvick was top 5, I think, and he had a really good pit stop going. Looked like they may get out first, and they didn't attach one of the wheels, and it rolled off, and they had to roll it back in the pit stall, get a new one on, jack it back up, and Harvick ends up finishing not winning. So that screwed his day. Denny Hamlin had the same problem, but Hamlin advanced. That's the difference. Harvick had a shot at the win there, and he did not get it. But Chris Buescher is the winner. Prosper, Texas's own Chris Buescher. What a night for him. What a night for RFK. They genuinely had top 5 cars. Keselowski dominated the first stage. He had only led 84 laps on the whole season prior to this, and he led 80 laps in the first stage. He looked really strong in qualifying, really strong in the race at all stages of the race. Chris Buescher looked great as well throughout the night. Once the strategy kind of helped him up there, he was able to make moves. He was able to hold off some really good guys there at the end. I mean, he finished half a second ahead of Chase Elliott. Elliott never really got to his bumper or anything, but, to hold off a Hendrick Motorsports guy, a championship contender, a former champion at Bristol, that is very, very impressive. And to win the Bristol Night Race, this is one of the crown jewels of NASCAR. So for that to be your second career win, your first win that is a full-length race, that's a pretty big deal. So that's a huge win for Chris Buescher. That's a huge win for RFK. That's Brad Keselowski's first win as an owner. He was so close, though, to getting the win as a driver. He was leading with 70, 80 laps to go before he had tire problems. So bittersweet for Brad, but I think more sweet because one of his cars did end up winning. So let's look at the results, then we'll talk about the playoffs. So obviously, as I said, Chris Buescher is your winner. 3 non-playoff drivers winning in the first 3 races. I did not see this happening at all. If it did, I would have said the round of 8 maybe, just because at that point there's going to be more guys eliminated, more guys contending for wins. But we have had 19 winners this year. That ties the all-time record in the modern era or whatever it is for most wins with 2001, I believe. 19 different winners. We had 16 entering the playoffs, and obviously 3 brand new ones. Bang, 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 right to start it off. It's insane. It truly is. I would have never guessed. And but if you told me that these 3 guys won, I would have not been shocked. Jones has been having really good runs all year. He has had winning speed at times. Same thing for Bubba Wallace. And honestly, Buescher, he's been the better of the 2 RFK drivers. He was in the top 20 in points at some point. He's looked really good all year long. He's had top 5 speed at some tracks, road courses specifically, which has been a little bit shocking. But Chris Buescher has been on it this year. He's been really good. He's been fast at times. So, if you told me before the playoffs started he'd win one of these playoff races, I honestly would not have been shocked. I don't think I would have picked Bristol as it, but I would not have been shocked. Buescher has looked really, really good this year. So, huge win for him. Huge win for RFK. Fastenal, their first win as a sponsor, a primary sponsor, I think. The first time Roush has won since 2017 with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 17's back in victory lane. Keselowski's first win as a team owner. I mean, this is a huge night for RFK, huge night for that organization. So they're going to celebrate it all around, and they deserve it. They've had a great season so far. Second place, Chase Elliott advances to the next round. Up and down day for him. They qualified poor, ran poor in that first stage, but after that picked it up. Really, strategy helped a little bit. Not a lot of tire fall off in this race, so Elliott was able to stay out on old tires, and just because there wasn't a lot of fall off, he was really able to stay in the top 5, top 10. Had a really good pit stop there at the end. Was able to pick second, and he ends up finishing second to Chris Buescher. Third place, William Byron, a really good first round for him. Very consistent, top 5, top 10 speed, exactly what they needed. They struggled throughout the summer, really since their Martinsville win, but to run top 5 in multiple races in this round, to lead laps, to be up front, that's huge for them. They advance to the next round. Fourth place, Christopher Bell. We already knew he was going into the next round coming into this race, but it's a night of what could have been. They had probably the best car, led over 150-something laps, were up front for a lot of the race, in the top 3 most of the race, but tire issue late ends up costing them. They have to pit, they have to cause a caution, and it just kind of puts them back in traffic, rallies back to a 4th. 5th place, Kyle Larson, he advances as well. 6th place, Chastain advances. 7th place, AJ Allmendinger showed speed over the weekend as a whole. Not a lot of people talked about him, but a good top 10 run. Cole Custer in 8th. Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole looked great. Almirola on pole. Briscoe starting 2nd. Harvick was up front, and Custer was the highest finishing SHR car. 9th place, Denny Hamlin. He had a pit road issue late, but he rallies back for 9th. He advances. 10th place, Kevin Harvick, eliminated. It was a must-win. Had a late resurgence in the summer. A couple wins back-to-back. Looked really fast. It was like, oh, they're getting hot at the right time. Car catches on fire in Darlington. They crash out early at Kansas, and they're looking at a must-win coming into Bristol, and just didn't work out for them. A late problem on pit road did not help. They had speed in the night. Were they the best car? No, but things could have been different, obviously. But Kevin Harvick will not win that second championship in 2022. Michael McDowell finishes 11th, a good day for him. 12th place, Justin Haley, 2 really good races for him back-to-back. 13th, Brad Keselowski. Brad had really good speed tonight. Maybe the second best car behind Bell, maybe the best car you could argue, but he was up front all night. He led a ton of laps. He looked fantastic all night long. Just a ton of speed. And, obviously not in the playoffs, and they've had a little bit of a struggle of a year, and the 100-point penalty early in the year did not help, but a win for Brad Keselowski as a driver would have been huge for him, but as an owner tonight, he's got to be thrilled. One of his cars won in his first year as an owner. He's got to be absolutely thrilled with that. So on the driver's side, disappointment, but on the owner's side, happiness. 14th, Chase Briscoe. I believe he advances. I did not see this one coming, guys. Briscoe, he did not show a lot of speed outside of his Phoenix, or outside of that first really quarter of the year. They survived. They crashed in the first round, or first race of this round, and they survived. I tell you what, I'm a little bit surprised. Briscoe advances. Impressive. Very, very impressive. 15th, Corey LaJoie, a really good run for him as well. Harrison Burton was in like 3 different crashes. He finishes 16th. Cody Ware, 17th. 18th, Todd Gillen. Cody Ware, 17th. That's amazing for him. Great run for him. He's had 2 really good runs the past few weeks. Top 10 at Daytona and now a top 20 at Bristol. Good for them. 19th, Daniel Suarez. He advances. Yes, he does. Had a little bit of a scare there with a late crash, but he does indeed advance in his first NASCAR playoff appearance. 20th, Austin Cindric advances by like 2 points. Early problems blew a tire, went 5-6 laps down. Ends up rallying back to finish in the top 20, still 7 laps down, but he does just enough. With the problems that other teams had, with Kyle Busch's engine blowing up, other guys being out of the race, and, guys being out of the race means you can make up spots 7 laps down. Cindric, in his first ever NASCAR playoffs appearance, makes it by that much. Just a couple of points. Cindric advances. 21st, Eric Jones. 22nd, Landon Castle. 23rd, J.J. Yeley. 24th, B.J. McLeod. 25th, Tyler Reddick. Reddick looked really good this season. They won a couple of races. They had a lot of momentum. They showed speed at a lot of these races. A 3rd place in the opening race of this round at Darlington. But a crash at Kansas and a crash tonight means that Tyler Reddick will not be in contention anymore for the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series Championship. Unfortunate for him and that team. They showed speed all season long. They look so good. But 2 bad races in this format, it screws you. You're done for. Once again, nothing to be upset about. They still can fight for 5th in the points. They've had such a good season, and disappointing for sure. Disappointing for RCR as a whole. 26th, Ty Dillon. 27th, Joey Logano. He advances. 28th, Eric Almirola. 29th, Bubba Wallace. 30th, Ryan Blaney. Early in this race had a problem, but he had such a big advantage. He was in dead last and still had plus 16 on the cutoff line that it really wasn't a problem. So he advances. Austin Dillon, 31st. No one really had him going out of the first round, but he was so close on that cutoff line. Entered the day only a couple points behind. Got a couple stage points. Was right on that border all day long, but got involved in that wreck started by Suarez, I believe, and unfortunately ended his night. He ends up 10 or 11 points off the cutoff line. He finishes in 31st. He is out of contention. 32nd, Alex Bowman. He advances. He's been really strong this round. Was looking strong tonight until the crash, but he advances. 33rd, Stenhouse. 34th, Kyle Busch. The two-time champion with Joe Gibbs Racing, 15 years, 56 wins, 2 championships, and it ends like this. It's a bit tragic, I gotta say. Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing have had so much success together. You're thinking they're gonna have one last run, one last push for a championship, and for it to end this tragically and for it to end in the way it did is pretty upsetting. 2 of the 3 races of the opening round, they have an engine expire. One of them in a race that Kyle Busch dominated. The other at one of Kyle Busch's best tracks when he's well above the cutoff. That's got to sting. That's got to sting a lot for Kyle Busch. He seemed really upset after the race, but shocking that he did not make it. They haven't been the best they've been as they have been in the past this year, don't get me wrong, but I expected them to get out of this first round, and man, that's got to be so upsetting for them. Toyota had a lot of mechanical problems tonight. Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Busch. That's got to be so disappointing. Kyle Busch's run at JGR ends in the round of 16. Absolutely upsetting. They still obviously have 7 races left together, but terrible way for them to end their relationship in terms of the championship. 35th, Ty Gibbs, and 36th, Martin Truex Jr. That is your finishing results from Bristol. So that means your 12 are, I put this away too quick. I could say it off the top of my head. It just may take a little bit longer, so we're going to make this easier. William Byron, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, and Joey Logano. So in conclusion, my bracket is wrong. I believe 2 of my round of 8 guys are out, but I think all 4 of my championship 4 guys are in. So we're good on that, but let me know if your bracket's busted already. Mine is, it's been heavily wounded. That's how we'll put it. But Prosper, Texas has won a race. It was worth getting my bracket destroyed if Prosper, Texas won a race. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. We'll talk about all the races in the playoffs here. Texas is up next. Oh my gosh, Chris Buescher gets to return home as a winner, the most recent winner. That is so cool, man. Let's go, Chris Buescher. But once again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. You guys know all about that stuff. But videos this week, Real Racing 3 video, live stream at some point, whatever else happens in the news, and we'll see you at Texas. Go Prosper.